Kickstarter deplatformed Jawbreakers, falsely accusing Richard C. Meyer and Jon Malin of, quote, discrimination, subjugation, and intolerance towards marginalized groups. Never forget. Hello, this is Robert Romano with Comicsgate.org. Hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to be talking about Kickstarter and why just about 99% of Comicsgate creators don't use Kickstarter, and they use Indiegogo instead for crowdfunding their projects. I don't think this is a coincidence. It's not merely because Indiegogo has a superior interface and platform, although I think that's a part of the reason why they chose to initially go from Kickstarter to Indiegogo. No, I think this is a statement of solidarity and always has been because of what Kickstarter did to Richard C. Meyer and Jon Malin. That the creators who were there at the inception of Comicsgate as a crowdfunding vehicle for independent comics were treated so badly by this woke company and its stupid diversity and inclusion agenda, which is, I guess, not as inclusive as it bills itself as being, that they treated them so poorly that there was going to be a statement against Kickstarter. And that's why, again, 99% of Comicsgate creators are on Indiegogo right now. And if you just go through comicsgate.org/creators and you go through each one of these creators, almost every single one of them use Indiegogo. There's a few exceptions. For example, Kelsey Shannon is on Walmart. There's a couple that are using Kickstarter, and some creators use Amazon as well. And everybody's listed here. We don't discriminate at comicsgate.org, specifically because creators decide for themselves what they're going to sell and where they're going to sell it. It's not for me to say. Although I would have an opinion about this, I think Kickstarter sucks. I think what they did to Richard C. Meyer and Jon Malin was unconscionable. And I think that the solidarity of Comicsgate against Kickstarter, for the most part, 99%, is with good reason. And I want to kind of go through what those reasons were and what occurred here. Again, Jon Malin, he on his platform, Comicsgate Presents, and on his channel on YouTube, it says, don't cross the streams, Indiegogo and Kickstarter. And this was a widely distributed and widely watched stream, 3,730 views. If you're in Comicsgate, more than likely you watched this. Jon Malin reacting to other creators who were suggesting that, hey, maybe we should try Kickstarter again. And Jon Malin saying, wait a second, not so fast here. But there was people who were obviously reacting to this. Here's VeilNed on Twitter stating, quote, wow, I've seen quite a few people offhandedly and casually saying, Malin was saying that those who go to Kickstarter are not Comicsgate. He never said that. He did, however, state that on his Comicsgate Present show that he is only platforming Comicsgaters who are choosing not to use Kickstarter. And I think that pretty much sums up what Malin was saying. He's not saying, like, he's going to choose who's Comicsgate and who's not Comicsgate. But what he is going to choose is who goes on his platform. And so in that thread, this particular timestamp was pointed out to readers to listen to, and I think it's worth listening to here so you can kind of get the perspective of what Jon Malin is actually saying.
Look, if people want to go on Amazon, if they want to go on any of those other platforms, more power to you. Look, I'm just saying, for 3 years, for better or worse, Kickstarter has been kind of ingrained into what we stand against. That's just it. That's the one spot where we said that, you know, we're gonna take a stand, and this place is a piece of shit. Again, do what you want, to go wherever you want. I'm not going to be outraged by it. I find it annoying that, you know, again, the same system that was built that helped Clint benefit is something that he's willing to take down, you know, or
he's
be
not
a
willing
part
to
of.
take it down. He's taking it for granted.
So there you go. There, Jon Malin references Clint Stoker, who had his own video about this topic, which, again, you know, no discrimination at comicsgate.org. You can go find it there. Kyung Lee had a couple of videos about this topic as well. Again, you can find these and their channels on comicsgate.org. Makes it easy to find comic skaters. Check out Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb #2 Standard Edition, funding at $10,590, 150 backers right now. If you missed out on Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb, here you get another chance to take part there with Clint Stoker. Check out Downcast #3, also an opportunity to catch up on the earlier editions of Downcast. #3, funding at $43,199, 755 backers. Also, FATL is still funding and nearly at $100,000, $97,153, 1,914 backers. Clint Stoker, this is a phenomenal success, and this is all done on Indiegogo. And so I wanted to kind of review why Comicsgate basically doesn't use Kickstarter anymore, and maybe why some creators are looking at using it again. And maybe, if you're not making a lot of money, maybe you want to be in more than one place. Well, you should think about Kickstarter and what they did to Richard C. Meyer and Jon Malin. They deplatformed Malin and Richard C. Meyer in 2018, telling Meyer on April 9th, 2018, quote, "As a public benefit corporation committed to fighting inequality and creating a more equitable world, Kickstarter does not allow projects that promote discrimination, subjugation, or intolerance towards marginalized groups." And Richard C. Meyer, you can see here, he was submitted an appeal, and the appeal was rejected. And he stated, quote, "The project does meet your rules. It's a simple story about superheroes rescuing a monster that people want to exploit. The superheroes are diverse racially and sexually. Both I and the artist are veterans. My family is diverse. I have a Muslim daughter who wears a hijab and a Hispanic son. There is no discrimination in the book or in my campaign." And they wouldn't listen. And so instead, they deplatformed them, and they called them bigots, and they defamed them, and, possibly damaging their reputations permanently. So they went on to Indiegogo, and they raised $404,000, $913. Jawbreakers, Lost Souls graphic novels. A team of ex-superheroes attempt to save a monster from a vicious warlord who wants to exploit it. And I don't know why they acted this way towards Richard C. Meyer, except that he had a very popular channel, still does, Diversity in Comics, now Comics Matter with your boy Zach. And they were retaliating against Richard C. Meyer for standing up against this woke so-called diversity and inclusion agenda that has taken over corporate America and companies like Kickstarter. And so that's what really happened to Richard C. Meyer. They called them racist, and Jon Malin racist and bigots, falsely accusing them. And so a week before I started seeing people talk about Kickstarter as an alternative to Indiegogo again, I had noted a video from Vickyverse and DA Talks, D&V Investigations, where they were talking about Richard C. Meyer being deplatformed. And I think she missed the mark here. She was trying to say that Vickyverse, that Richard C. Meyer was taken off of Kickstarter because he had some late books. Maybe she was referring to the original Jawbreakers that funded in 2015. This is the before Jon Malin, kind of before Comicsgate version of it that he funded at $3,743. But Vickyverse was saying, "Oh, that's the reason why," and you can hear it here. I wanted to let it give an opportunity. I don't think she did this maliciously. I think this was a mistake.
There's so much going on in the backstory of Richard Meyer,
Mhm.
and a lot of it, a lot of the newer CGers don't know. They don't know that he had a Kickstarter. They think he got kicked off of Kickstarter because he's too political. And he really got kicked off of Kickstarter because he tried to start a new Kickstarter before he'd fulfilled one that was 2 years late.
So there you go. But as you can see here in the documents, clearly they were accusing him of discrimination, subjugation, or intolerance towards marginalized groups with his campaign. So I think that was just a mistake there. But then I noticed this widely viewed program from D&V Investigations, 434 views. And then a week later, I'm seeing people talk about, hey, maybe Kickstarter isn't so bad. And I couldn't help but conclude that maybe some people had seen this. I'm not saying that Clint Stoker was watching this video and said, "Oh, let's go on Kickstarter," or Kung Yuli was watching this. I'm saying that while this talk about Kickstarter is going on, here's this program that is misleading people into thinking that Richard C. Meyer and Jon Malin were deplatformed for late books or something. No, 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 no. Kickstarter was definitely maliciously, I think, and falsely defaming Richard C. Meyer and Jon Malin, and we need to remind people how Kickstarter operates. And this is not an isolated incident. In 2019, Mike S. Miller went on to Kickstarter to fund Lone Star as an alternative to Indiegogo to see if he could raise more money. Jon Malin was telling Mike Miller not to do that that was a bad idea. Sure enough, Jon Malin was right, as Mike Miller's book was deplatformed. And they told Miller the same thing they told Malin, quote, "As a public benefit corporation committed to fighting inequality and creating a more equitable world, Kickstarter does not allow discrimination, subjugation, or intolerance towards marginalized groups." And they said, "This decision is non-negotiable. We appreciate your understanding." And so here was Mike Miller. He was being defamed and deplatformed at the time. His book was about a superhero who fights MS-13. So maybe that's the marginalized group, is MS-13, the violent gang that deals drugs and, moves fentanyl into the United States. I guess that's who is the marginalized group as far as Kickstarter is concerned. But, I actually supported Mike Miller at this time. And then I realized just how pervasive the discrimination was from Kickstarter, and that this was, obviously not going to get any better. And I think that creators, if you choose to go to Kickstarter, this is what you're risking. They could potentially defame you and damage your reputation. And there may be some Comicsgate fans who wouldn't take kindly to that too. Certainly a part of the risk. I think that's what Jon Malin is saying. Don't cross the streams. This is, we've kind of been down this road before. And I think that's legitimate. I think that's legitimate commentary on Jon Malin's part. I don't think he's saying you're not Comicsgate, but he can speak for himself, of course. He's very outspoken. But I just wanted to kind of go through what really happened with Jawbreakers and why Comicsgate uses Indiegogo predominantly. Again, you go through all these creators, 99.5, 99% of them are on Indiegogo, and they do not use Kickstarter. And I think that is as a statement of solidarity. I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think it's for some superior interface, even if Indiegogo does have a superior interface. I think that this is a statement by Comicsgate against Kickstarter. And, I think everyone would kind of do well to just remember, never forget what they did to Jon Malin and Richard C. Meyer. And, obviously, we're going to stand with those creators and everyone who wants to promote their books. We're going to promote you no matter what, whether it's on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Amazon, Walmart, it doesn't matter. This is about helping fans find creators. Since the inception of Comicsgate.org, we've redirected traffic to all your projects. And so it's not about that. I personally question and disagree with this, and I see a lot of disinformation about this topic. Maybe kind of downplaying what the risks were, what really happened back in 2018. I see some stuff on Twitter that just doesn't really, consider the consequences and the sacrifices that Richard C. Meyer, Jon Malin, creators like Ethan Van Sciver have made by leaving the mainstream and going onto Indiegogo and, kind of embarking on their own path. And leaders like Jon Malin, leaders like Ethan Van Sciver have helped creators raise millions of dollars in the great scheme of things. If you go to creatorgo.com/CG, you'll see that Comicsgate creators, $8.9 million in the past 2 years. That's 2020 and 2021 funding. In 2021 alone, you can see that they've raised $2.9 million, almost $3 million on active campaigns this year alone. 2.2 million if you just count campaigns that started in 2021. And I think that's an enormous success. Again, creatorgo.com/CG. And again, it's because of the statement of solidarity. Comicsgate is mutual promotion. We're all going to stick together. We're much stronger together than we are apart. And I'll leave you with the close here. My view is that a rising tide lifts all boats, and that Comicsgate Continuing to create an alternative marketplace for comics and other media in the coming years will not be easy, but I am confident that Comicsgate is and always will be stronger together, and I will back you all no matter what. Good luck, Comicsgate. That's the commentary. This is Robert Romano with Comicsgate.org. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and have a good evening.